Legislative Director for Texas Right to Life, and want to give you guys an update on two issues that we're going to be working on this session. We're actually preparing to release our full agenda and show the bills that we're going to make a pro-life priority this session. There's a lot of pro-life bills that are filed every session. We have a lot of members who come up with ideas or hear back from the district and file pieces of legislation. Texas Right to Life, we have the role of gathering a consensus around what bills are most needed as far as the pro-life movement goes. And so we meet with lawyers, we meet with stakeholders, a lot of the people who are here in the room. We meet with elected officials in the interim. Whenever we're not in session, we go around the state and have roundtable discussions to receive input from experts and elected officials on what are the most pressing needs in the pro-life movement. We are an affiliate of a national organization, and so we get that perspective from them as far as what's happening in other states that we can glean from, what's gone wrong in other states, and that we can fix and that we can avoid. So we kind of have this perspective. So with that, one of the services that we provide to your elected officials is we give them an agenda. We give them, these are 5 bills that need to be prioritized. And there's great pro-life ideas out there, like allowing pregnant women in the HOV lane. That's a great idea. It's a pro-life idea, right? Because you're acknowledging that in that car, there's 2 humans. There's a pregnant woman and there's her child, right? So she should qualify for the HOV. That's a great pro-life idea. It's not the most pressing need in our state, right? There are more important things that we can do to save lives, to protect pregnant women and vulnerable patients. So that's kind of one of the things that we have, and I'll mention 2 of the bills that we would encourage you to talk to your legislators about, and there's more information on our website, or you can come talk to me afterwards. The first one is reforming the judicial bypass process. Right now in Texas, a minor can go to a judge instead of her parents to get permission for an abortion. So even though Texas law says a minor should be talking to her parent and get consent from her parent for an abortion, we have this huge loophole in our law called a judicial bypass. And it allows her to go to a judge and completely cut out her parents who were there, and the state acknowledges are there to protect her and to help her make these important decisions. And so when this happens, this judicial bypass process is completely flawed. And judges have told us all around the state that this process is built to give the bypass. This process is not built to get parents involved or protect the minor from abuse. The bypass process, the judicial process in law, is really just a rubber stamp. And we hear this from judges all the time. We have pro-life judges who call us, who say, I have these cases in my court right now, I can't do anything. The law is so loose that I would be violating the law to deny the bypass, to not let the minor go through with the abortion. It's an awful process, and I'll give you a few examples of how awful it is. First of all, after they have the hearing, if the judge does not rule, the judge hears the case and they talk to the minor and they do not rule within 48 hours, then the bypass is automatically granted. Nowhere else in Texas law do we have automatic granting of judicial orders. It's always the opposite in other cases. If you don't hear back from the judge, you assume you were denied the order or the ruling. Okay? So that's one way, is like one of the loopholes. Another loophole is that the attorney ad litem, usually who comes from the abortion clinic, so an attorney from the abortion clinic who's taking the minor to the courthouse can get in court and turn around and be the guardian ad litem in court. And what that means is they can be representing them in court and then all of a sudden act like their parent in court and deciding what's in their best interest and make that argument for the judge. So their attorney can be their guardian temporarily. And we don't see that. We divide those roles out in other places in law. They're 2 distinct roles. And so that's another loophole. And the last one that I'll give you is there's no venue requirements. So right now, a minor who may live in a rural area can go to an urban area. So if she's in Denton County or Rockwall County, she can come into Dallas County and ask for a bypass. And so she can go to a venue that's going to be more liberal, that's going to be more friendly. And if she's calling the abortion clinic, you know that they have the address to the right court, right? They know exactly which judge they want, who will grant this easily. And so there's no venue requirements. It doesn't have to be in the court, a court in her residence, the county of her residence. So these are a few areas. And we have a long list of this where the process was built just to give minors abortions, secret abortions, without even notifying her parents. And we can all understand why that's dangerous. Not just because of the life-changing and life-ending decision of an elective abortion, but also because if there's a complication following the abortion, how is the parent supposed to care for their minor in their household? To take them to the emergency room whenever there's a complication, they don't have even an accurate medical history that this happened in the past. So how are they going to care for her? And we've seen women die from elective abortions sometimes. And how is the parent able to do their job in protecting their minor if they don't even know about this process? So that's one area. So we have a bill that is covering up these loopholes, that is actually closing these gaps and making sure that we still have a judicial bypass process, but we reserve it for the worst cases where a minor is being abused in the home and she needs to go to a judge to deal with the abuse, and she needs to go to a judge to get support in that. You know, the pregnancy might even be from incest, from a stepfather or someone in the household. And so we do need a judge to have jurisdiction in this question, but not just to give her the abortion and send her back to an abusive situation, but to get her in court and deal with the abuse, and the pregnancy might be part of that, and actually help her deal with the domestic abuse there. So that's the judicial bypass reform. Representative Matt Krause from Tarrant County is carrying that, and Senator Connie Burton, who's taking the place of Wendy Davis, is actually. So yeah, we're pretty happy about that. So Wendy Davis was trying to stop pro-life bills, and now her successor is actually going to be carrying one of our top priority bills. So
what are the bill numbers?
We don't have bill numbers yet.
Okay.
They're still in legislative council, so we'll send out bill numbers once we have them. But there's been a lot of discussion about the need for these reforms. And so we want to talk to our representatives about this. The second one that I'll mention is is protecting vulnerable patients. Is we actually, Texas Right to Life has been leading the way in having the conversation with the pro-life movement of how we apply our pro-life convictions, our pro-life principles to medical ethics and to what happens in hospitals. And we've stepped on some toes in this because not everybody wants to think about these hard issues of how we actually protect vulnerable patients in a hospital. And sometimes that means pushing back on what rights doctors have. And that's not always popular, especially in the pink building across the street. There's some very strong lobbyists who don't like that we're kind of saying what doctors cannot do when it comes to patients. But from a pro-life conviction, if we value every single innocent human life from fertilization until natural death, that means that we're going to put in patient protections so that families and patients are making decisions about treatment instead of hospitals. And that's not what happens in Texas law right now. Right now, a doctor can withdraw even life-sustaining treatment, which is food, water, and a ventilator, from a patient if they want it. So a patient is asking for food, water, and a ventilator, a doctor has the legal right to deny that. And maybe we're not all doctors in this room, but we understand if you don't have food, water, and air, you're going to die. The cause is death. So Texas law gives a lot of power to doctors and hospitals right now. Texas Right to Life is leading the way with a coalition of a lot of groups in this room and in about 20 groups outside of this room to reform our Advanced Directive Act to make sure that patients and families are the final authority when it comes to these life-ending, life-changing decisions like do not resuscitate orders or food, water, and a ventilator. So these are complicated issues. We have the medical associations against us, hospital associations against us. They don't want pro-lifers thinking about these things, but we're leading the conversation. We need your help to protect these vulnerable patients. You know, we all have women in our life who have struggled with the question of abortion, if you have these conversations, then you'll find out, how many women are touched by elective abortion and that hard decision in those hard situations. And so that's kind of, there's a lot of that, but every single one of us or someone that we love will definitely end up in a hospital. We'll definitely need to be in the ICU at some point. We'll go to the ER at some point. So you're more likely to run into this issue than you are to protecting our state from elective abortion. So we really need to think hard about this. We really need to work hard about putting in the right patient protections so that we're pro-life, not just when it comes to the preborn and the pregnant women, but also to vulnerable patients. So we encourage you guys to join us. I know it's a hard issue. We have a lot of resources on our website. I'd love to talk to you about it afterwards and give you some more information to follow up on. Thanks.
Thank you, Seago.